We are here with Darcy Nutt. Can you tell everybody where you're from and what shop you tattoo at?
I'm from Boise, Idaho, and I own a shop there called Chalice Tattoo Studio, which I've had for almost 11 years. And then I also go back and forth to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I work at Ace Custom Tattoo when I'm there.
Why do you go back and forth from North Carolina?
Because I'm engaged to Rodney Raines, who owns Ace. Okay. So rather than give up my shop and just move for love, I'm a little more level-headed about my achievements and responsibilities. So I go back and forth and I rack up miles and I get to enjoy being in two places.
Which one do you spend more time at?
Currently I spend more time at Ace, but I go back every other month to Chalice.
Can you talk about your other artists at Chalice, or is it a private studio?
Oh no, I have right now 7 other artists working there. Derek Schaefer, Indy's Pooples, Indy's Willows, and Eddie Ramirez, Sean Phelps, Ben Sanchez, Dustin Fowler, and my apprentice, Aaron Hussey.
Okay. I think we know you from, in regards to your work, you do a variety of large-scale pieces and smaller scale pieces. What's your ratio from large scale currently? Like, how much large scale pieces do you currently work on versus small scale one-shot tattoos?
One-shot tattoos are definitely rare. I probably do, it depends. Conventions, hopefully they're one-shot, but I think maybe like 1 every 2 weeks is a one-shot kind of deal. Mostly it's sleeves and ongoing pieces, back pieces, things like that.
Do you enjoy doing the large-scale pieces more?
Oh yeah, I love it because I realized that I have the mind for it. Not everyone does. Larger compositions. That's kind of like advanced tattooing, and I find it to be a really awesome challenge to put many components together or figure out what fits different parts of the body just right. So I really, really enjoy it. But I like small tattoos too, so a lot of people are like, I know you don't do small tattoos, but, and I'm like, yeah, I do.
How often do you have a client that comes in and wants a small tattoo that you're able to push them into they want a quarter sleeve and you push them into getting a full sleeve?
I'm not very pushy. Only if it's really makes sense to me, like what they want, what they're asking for. It's like, well, is the space you're covering more important than the subject matter, or is the subject matter more important? Let's figure that out real quick, because if it's a subject matter, well, that's not going to work. So then I'll, recommend a larger size or a different placement or whatever. But I have no ulterior motives. And
not pushing, just like, hey, if you take this and you look and you expand out to a whole arm, this is what we could possibly do.
Oh yeah, that's always part of the discussion. I always have pretty lengthy consultations with people to kind of pick their brain and figure out where they're coming from. Everybody kind of gives themselves away during a consultation. You know what I mean? You can figure out if they're anxious or if they trust you, if they know what they want really well, or if they have no idea. You can tell if they're sentimental or if they just want a piece of art. The more you talk to them, the more you figure it out, and the more you can guide them towards something that's fun for you and exactly what they want.
We are at the Richmond Tattoo Convention this weekend. How often do you do conventions? And if you do conventions, what are your typical favorite ones to go to?
Let's see. Lately, I've been doing about 6 a year. My favorite ones are the Boise Treasure Valley Tattoo Convention. It's really great. I also love Richmond's awesome, and Pagoda City.
I gotta go to Pagoda City sometime.
Oh, it's so good. It's so fun. It's small. It's like this in that it's in the hotel, but it's very, very small, and they have a party every night out by the pool.
I've always heard it's a very well respected. Everybody who goes to Pagoda City, it's one of the conventions to go to, apparently.
Yeah, it's small and it's all heavy hitters.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's very humbling.
Claudia DeSabe was there a few years ago, and I kicked myself in the ass for not going to see her.
It is very humbling because every person.
A lot of really good artists.
Yes, and it's very small. So I haven't even seen a turnover with who's there at all. It's always the same people every year. And they do karaoke by the pool on Saturday night, which is fucking amazing. Dan Sin is the best at karaoke.
Not really. Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to make some time next year.
You should.
To attend. In regards to your design process for large scale pieces, I mean, like, how do you typically design them or lay them out?
Mostly, well, depending on what it is, I'll draw out, usually I'll draw out primary, like, foreground images, size and stencil them where they need to go, and then draw all the background freehand. Or like, I actually don't like to plan things too terribly in advance, which is kind of the difference between, like, we were just talking about doing all your layout, you know, on like an iPad or something. But I kind of like seeing what the surprises are when you actually have that person's, like if you're doing the leg sleeve, when you actually have their leg there, you know, the surprises of how things fit or what you find to fill a weird space are kind of exciting to me. So I don't like to plan them completely.
I know you just mentioned an iPad, and I know we're talking off camera about you still using the traditional pen and paper method, while a lot of artists have migrated over to digital technologies such as Wacom and iPad function or iPad technologies. Have you looked into using an iPad? Are you still sticking with the pen and paper, or the pencil and paper, not the pen and paper?
I've been tattooing for 20 years and I've never needed it, so it doesn't even occur to me to even think about using it.
Do any other artists in your shop use?
All of them.
They all do? Do you ever look at them and be like, that's something I need to move forward with?
Well, one time Indies showed me, like, because he was the last to convert in my shop, and I thought that he was going to be a diehard, like, paper and tracing paper forever kind of guy. And then he, like, fully converted, and he's like, but look, check this out. Like, and he put on some app or whatever, and he just used his finger, made a mandala in 5 seconds, which I still draw mandalas with tracing paper like I'm in kindergarten. I fold the paper and I draw each side. Like, so I'm like, that's cool, but it seems like cheating to me. I don't know. It's not a judgment, but it just feels weird that he literally drew the coolest mandala. Actually, he looked up at the ceiling and did it, and I was just like, that's fucked up. And then he showed me another app where he just used his finger or whatever, the stylus, I don't know, on it, and then it was a dragon. I'm just like, it's cool, but I want people to know that what I make, I literally made myself. So maybe it's weird, and I'm not, again, it's not a judgment, but I guess that's where I'm at. If it ain't broke, it don't need to be fixed. And if I don't know what I'm missing, then...
Do you ever look at it as a process workflow improvement, though? I mean, so Tattoo Smart has a bunch of brushes that you can put into an application, such as Photoshop, that will allow you to do things like scales easier. Like,
I don't even have Photoshop.
It'll allow you to put it into an application on a digital format that will allow you to design the tattoo easier without as much work from you.
I like the work. I like scales. I don't even draw them on. I just go straight to skin.
You do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. That's just interesting. I mean, so I sat through Russ's seminar at Explore a couple months ago, and I'm not a tattoo artist, but he shows the 3D modeling that he does in regards to arms, and it's just interesting to see.
Oh yeah, I've watched him work at conventions. I'm like, dude, that's so cool.
What he can make prior to his consultation and prior to starting the tattoos. Well, after his consultation. So, you're sticking with pen and paper? Pencil and paper. I don't know if you want to see pen.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of got their own artistic flow, and I think it's cool that one time Russ came over and watched Rodney and I like freehanding on sleeves that we were working on. He's like, man, that's so cool that you can do that. And that was a nice compliment because he does something that I don't know how to do. And so I think it's nice to have respect for people's different, artistic approach and everything. So I'm happy to be different if I'm doing an old-fashioned or traditional thing. I'm happy to do it. Maybe the day will come where I get curious, but.
Who has helped you the most in your tattooing or art career?
Oh, that's like an impossible question to answer.
I'm going to name a few people.
Over the years, Eric Payne, who owns Ink Vision Tattoo in Boise, because that's where I got my start. Early on, he was very helpful with composition and things like that. And then I worked at Slave to the Needle for several years, and Aaron Bell was a huge influence on me. Like, I thought, like, even before I started tattooing, I thought he was one of the very best tattooers in the world. So when I got to work for him, it was like, I was just absorbing, you know what I mean? But, you know, I've traveled a lot. I've done a lot of conventions. I've done guest spots, and it's funny. You'll learn the most juiciest tidbits from just like one thing from a variety of people. So it'd be hard to name all of them, but those are my two big mentors for sure. Like early on.
Random question that we like to get people's opinion on. What's your one positive and negative thing that you could wish you could change in the tattoo industry?
Oh man, this is good rant stuff.
'Cause everybody has different opinions. I mean, it's interesting
Absolutely.
to hear. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus about their negative or positive, negative opinions, but it's just interesting to hear the difference of opinions from a bunch of artists.
Yeah, like give me an example of like the things that are going on.
I mean, so somebody said that the negative thing was they wish that artists would just get along better.
Oh.
You know, you got a lot of competition, you got a lot of sometimes bad blood between artists.
Mm.
But the good thing is, like, social media kind of does bring us all closer together because, you know, you're familiar with so many other people's work just because of Instagram.
Mm-hmm. And it's a pure democracy, which I think is fascinating. You know, before we had the magazines decided who was, you know, super talented and worth knowing. So there was always someone you had to go through, the editor. Mm-hmm. You had to submit your work, and it was not a democracy. It was someone's deciding you're good enough, you're not good enough. You know what I mean? So that's interesting to have it. It was that way for a long time, and then you have a democracy, and you see like what people really like, and it's interesting to me. Like you can have somebody who does, you know, palm size black whip shaded traditional tattoos, and that's all they do, and they're gonna have like 150,000 followers. And then you have people who do full color, you know, like say Japanese bodysuits or something, and they're struggling to have people pay attention to these massive works of art. And again, not a judgment on my part, but that's interesting to me, is not like large scale work as appreciated as the small ones. And I think it's interesting because you are looking at it on a square this big. Maybe those smaller ones just look better in a square this big. It's hard to see like a whole sleeve or back piece. And a lot of people just, you know, people who aren't tattoo artists or whatever, I think kind of scroll past it and go, well, I can't see everything perfectly, or, you know. So I think there's some good and bad to that, to the internet deciding who's who and what's what. I kind of miss having an editor that's like, no, really, look at this. It's really good, you know. Let's see, what else?
But with Instagram, at least, you have such a wide distribution of media, and compared to a magazine, just how many people would actually go to Barnes and Nobles or to the local store to flip through a magazine compared to the amount of people that see your tattoos on a daily basis on Instagram.
It's an era that's completely gone, for sure.
I've talked to a lot of artists who, at this point, your Instagram is more important than your portfolio.
Absolutely. Or your website. Yeah. No, it is.
Your Instagram is your portfolio. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Totally. And that is completely true. It's just interesting to see how that changes things, you know, because I do remember when I had this subscription to every magazine and everything, and they're becoming obsolete, you know, they almost are. And then TV shows, I don't watch them at all. So when people are like, oh, so-and-so, I'm like, who are they? I don't know.
Have you been invited onto these TV shows?
Yeah.
You have not. So I don't watch Ink Master. I don't watch
Me
any of those
neither.
shows. I'm assuming that you have not participated in them if you
No.
don't watch them.
No.
Is there a reason why you have not participated in them?
I'm a private person. I couldn't. I think it's difficult that my job entails being judged constantly. It's part of the deal. You put your artwork out there and people say I like it or I don't like it, and that's fair. But I don't want to put myself out there to be judged for people to decide if they like or don't like. I couldn't do it.
Especially with the producers obviously choose of how they want you to be perceived by the audience.
Exactly, yeah.
And so you could act one, I've heard of situations where artists acted one sort of way and it kind of gets cut apart.
Oh yeah, edited.
And then they get perceived as a whole different person.
Yep.
And like, you know them in person and you see them on the show.
Oh yeah.
You're two different people and you're like, I know that's not the guy or girl that I know in person.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's just TV in general though.
Exactly, whatever gets ratings.
So you didn't give me an answer though. Positive and negative.
Oh, positive and negative. Positive, I still love the tattoo family. You know, the industry has always been like really tight-knit, respect for the people that came before you, like coming together, doing these conventions, getting the opportunity to meet, you know, the generation or two of tattooers before you, the opportunity to get to know them and learn from them, and then getting to learn the generation, you know, that's younger than you is, I mean, I don't know how else we would be able to get all tied together without these conventions and things. So I've never stopped doing them I think I went to my first convention in '97, and there's not a year has gone by that I haven't done them. So I like that that's still there. That hasn't changed, you know. And then negative, see, I don't really see like you mentioned, tattooers say they wish they could be nicer to each other. I don't see that, or like that there's problems between people. I don't really see that. I like everybody that's, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody's cool.
If you don't have a negative opinion on it, that's.
Yeah.
I've had artists tell me that, you know, I focus on the positive. I don't try to even think about negative stuff, so I just don't have a negative thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I don't know.
Are there any up and coming tattooers that you know that, you know, like, not saying that this guy or girl should get more attention, but any artists that are up and coming that you think should be more well known?
I don't know. Oh, I'm sure, but I'm really bad with remembering everybody. You can ask anyone.
Yeah, we can skip this question.
Okay.
So outside of tattooing, what do you enjoy typically doing?
Painting.
What kind of painting do you typically do?
Like oil painting or liquid acrylic.
Is it similar to your tattoo style?
Sometimes, but not always. I also like to travel a lot to go see shows.
What kind of shows?
Like heavy metal festivals and rock shows and stuff like that. There's this really great festival in Tilburg, Netherlands called Roadburn that I go to every year. And I think this year will be 9 years.
That is a far way to travel for a concert.
It's a really good festival.
Yeah. Is it an outdoor 3-day type of festival?
It's all indoor, 4 days. It's all more like doom and black metal.
Okay.
It's really fun.
Oh, interesting.
And like Rodney and I just went to New York City to go see the Helicopters on a boat. That for a day, that was fun. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much music and art.
What is Helicopters on a boat?
Oh, Helicopters is a band and we saw them on a boat.
Oh, okay. I was
Helicopters
like,
on a boat would be
these helicopters on this boat.
a good band name.
So can you talk about what you worked on today?
I worked on a lighthouse on the back of a calf.
How long have you been attending the Richmond show?
This is my 5th year.
Do you, I mean, like, what's about the Richmond show that makes it worth attending year after year? Because there's a lot of artists who seem to be here for long periods of time.
Yeah. I love the people that put it on. I love the people that attend it. I mean, once I realized that like all my friends do this show, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this show too. And it's really busy, and it's got a good tight knit like group of friends and people. We've known each other for years. You know, I was looking down my booth and I'm like, I've known Ian for, I don't know, 8 years. I've known Nate for almost 10 years. I've known Derek for like 10 years and Nick for like, I don't know, 6 years. I'm just looking around me going, you know.
They're all friends.
They're all friends.
Yeah.
From who knows when I even met them. You know, I was at a convention somewhere. We all live in completely different states. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the nice thing about conventions is you go there and you meet, you can see all your friends that you don't ever see in person, even because you live so far away.
And some of them I know really, really well, and we've never even lived in the same city ever, you know?
If there was a piece of advice to give to a young tattoo artist coming up or just starting out, is there a solid piece of advice that you could give to them?
I mean, aside from like the obvious, like draw for 3 to 4 hours every day.
Or if there is a piece of advice that you would give to yourself while you were a young Darcy.
Oh, that's a different question. What would I? Loosen up. That's what I would have told myself with drawing. Mm-hmm. Don't be such a perfectionist. Loosen your hand movements up. If I could have learned that earlier, that would have been better. But I think for like my apprentice, I would tell her to listen to everybody. Like really take it all in. Like what other people who came before you have to say, you know? Like, don't be afraid to ask, how do you draw water? How do you do this? I'm curious. And the more you like observe other people's techniques, the more you can go, oh, that makes sense. And the quicker you can progress.
Have you attended any of the conferences? So conferences happen at a lot of conventions. Have you attended any conference?
No, never.
Tattoo seminars,
nope,
pretty much?
Never.
Are you interested in attending them, or are you interested in presenting at them?
No. Oh, I'd lose my mind. No, honestly, I don't really even, I did hear about them for this one, but normally I'm just not even privy to the fact that they're going on or anything.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. And a lot of times, by the time the artist shows up, Jesse was saying, like, you know, by the time I show up to the convention, I wasn't aware that this seminar was going on, and now you have all these tattoos booked, and it's too late to attend the seminar.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. Honestly, like, I don't even know that they're going on at any of the ones that I go to regularly.
I know there's ones at Hell City, but I mean, like, Explorer has become very popular to attend, and they're doing them all across the country. Mm-hmm. And I think they're very informational, and it's an opportunity to get to know a lot of tattoo artists that you would never meet, mm-hmm. while learning from some of the best of the best.
Oh, yeah. I'd be super interested in it, but people really have to give me like a lot of information, be like, you need to go to this, don't send me an email, don't post it on Instagram, I'm not gonna see it, you know what I mean? Like, it would take a lot of effort to make sure that I would go to something like that. It is
like taking water from a fire hose for 3 days though at Explorer. Just seminar after seminar, you leave, and I'm not even a tattoo artist, and I was overloaded.
Yeah, no, it sounds fun.
So anyways, we're gonna wrap this up. Cool. What would you be doing if you weren't tattooing?
I don't know. I have no idea. I've been tattooing since I was 19. That I was decorating cakes when I quit to tattoo. So, I don't know. I enjoyed playing music and all that, but that's not really like a job.
When you were in a band, were you playing heavy metal?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, like doom metal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I like that it's so creative. Definitely, like, if I wasn't a tattooer, I might be interested in something like animation would be cool. Or like, I love making movies. I was a theater major in college, so I'm definitely a drama nerd. Maybe film or something like that would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just interesting to see what people would do.
Right.
If people are interested in getting tattooed by you, how should they get in contact with you?
Not through social media, ever. So I tattoo in Idaho, and so I have the West Coast and the East Coast booking. For West Coast booking, they call my shop Chalice Tattoo Studio. They have to call to book with my assistant. And then for East Coast bookings, email. Email is bookingchalice@gmail.com.
Why don't you do email for
West Coast?
Yeah.
Because I answer all the emails.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, delegation.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us. We're huge fans of your work. We love seeing stuff from you, new art from you.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day at this convention to talk with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.